Today we're going to work on shoulder internal rotation and just general shoulder mobility. We're going to start with an exercise. Basically what you're going to need is a wall, and you're going to need full access of the wall. We're going to do it from a kneeling position. You can do it from a standing position, but just given the windows, it's going to limit what range we have. So again, with most of these exercises, we're going to do them all on one side, and then I'll have you repeat those on the other side. Starting with the first exercise, we're going to do shoulder cars. Cars stand for complete articular rotations. We're going to start by screwing our hand in, contracting our muscle, maintaining good core, and we're going to push into the wall, and we're going to go up. As soon as we get overhead, we're going to turn our hand around, and we're going to rotate. So right there, I'm noticing that that's a little bit too difficult for me to have good range without compensating. So as soon as we find that, you're going to have to slightly move away, not allow your body to twist, and we're going to keep tension and rotate through. As we're getting to just below to the midline, our hand is turning around, and we're going to do 5 complete rotations, pushing into the wall, avoiding rotation, and breathing, always able to breathe. Good. And this is the third. Continuing to resist. This part of the range of motion is going to be the most challenging for people, keeping neutral head and neck. I'm going to come a little bit closer for the last 2 reps, hoping to get a little bit more range without twisting. And the last one. Okay, and we're going to go backwards now. So the same thing goes here, turning our hand. And 5 complete rotations. Good, and this is something you could repeat every morning. The premise with this is that we need to maintain full joint mobility, and oftentimes we don't utilize all of that range of motion. And so these upper ends of this range are ranges that we tend to neglect. So by keeping and maintaining this range, we're maintaining full access, and hopefully as we get older, we are someone that can get our arms in different positions. And last one. Good. So the next stretch we're going to do is we're going to come up and you're going to find something like a doorway. Okay? We're going to try to get internal rotation in. Internal rotation is when our shoulder tends to want to roll forward, and that lends to lots of different problems. So with that, I'm going to have you place your hand behind your back, just on the small of your back, and you're going to push into the lower part of your back, keeping good neutral posture. And you're going to lean backwards into that door frame, and what's going to happen is that's going to pull that shoulder forward, giving you a good stretch. Most people who have difficulty with this, they'll complain they have a hard time washing their hair, can't do up their bra, those kinds of things. So it's a pretty important range. Also, it's going to help people who are trying to get full range for playing sports like tennis, baseball, throwing sports. And just breathing, and now what I want you to do is I want you to kind of just rotate your body into it, and we're going to hold this stretch for about 30 more seconds. So again, the door is pushing you forward, you're contracting, and your elbow is pushing ahead, getting that stretch and that internal rotation. Good, and stepping away. All right, the next piece of equipment we're going to use is a firm ball or a foam roller. So when grabbing that, I'm going to do the same side. So laying down, we're going to try to get at some of that big lat dorsi. So when you're laying on this, you're going to kind of get curious and root around and find that deep band of muscle underneath your armpit. And as soon as you're on it, you'll be like, oh yeah, that's it. So what we're going to do is we're going to scrub back and forth on that. This hand can just be anywhere sort of in this range of motion right here. Keeping your body stiff back and forth, shimmying on that spot. Finding corners and areas with a little bit of a twist, rotating back and forth on that. Now, if you don't have a foam roller, you can use a firm ball or even a lacrosse ball to get into some of those spots. But keep in mind, you might find the very next day you're going to be a little bit sore. So if it is sore, don't be surprised. Good, and we're going to go a little bit more overhead and closer to the midline and just running back and forth on that spot. We're using about 3 to 4 inches of area kind of underneath the armpit, making sure we stay away from anything that feels zingy. Good, and then rocking back and forth on that new part of the shoulder. Just scrubbing. And our goal is to be able to get our hand overhead quite easily, and that's really accessible for just about everything we do. Very necessary. And if we can't, then we run into problems with poor posture, possibly shoulder impingements, possibly rotator cuff tears. Okay. All right, and the last thing we're going to do is we're going to go into an internal rotation stretch. And so we're going to use that lacrosse ball or a tennis ball. We're going to go in side line. That ball is going to sneak into a similar area. So we're going to place it behind our shoulder. Okay. Rolling onto it with our elbow bent. And we're going to press the arm forward. So as far as range of motion goes, ideally we should be able to get our hand to about 70 degrees here without much effort. And we're going to just shimmy back and forth on that, coming this way, over pressure, contract, relax. And adding a bit of rotation into this range. Spending about 2 minutes on this, coming off of it, rechecking our range of motion, and hopefully we have better range, and then again repeating on the opposite side. Thank you, and live life now.